Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Style to Impact Live. If you're here live, thank you very much for being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much for coming back and listening to today's conversation. Before I get into the topic of the day, I want to start with my wellness check in because I think it's important for you to pause, to breathe, to reflect on how you're feeling. What is it you need to intentionally show up for yourself today, next week, next month? What is it you need to be and bring your whole and authentic self into the spaces that you're entering? I hope that your week is going well. You're having a fantastic day. Let me know if you're here live. I'd love to hear from you. What are your summer plans? If you're watching the replay, I would also love to hear from you as well. So let me know in the chat what are some of your summer plans that you have because summer is here. What are we doing? How are we feeling? All the things. I want to live vicariously through you. If you're new to this space, welcome. I'm Salida Roberts. I'm the founder of Style to Impact, and I get to help women of color really own who they are from the inside out to show up as their boldest, truest, more authentic selves in the spaces that they're entering so that they can focus on the impact that they want to have in their careers and in their businesses. Because I truly believe that representation is not just you being in the room, but it's also how you show up. And it's by how you're showing up. Once you're in alignment with your true and authentic self, that's how we create the changes in the world. That's how we create the changes of how the world sees us as women of color and some of the internal and external biases that surround us as women, and being able to dismantle those stereotypes and confidently embrace who we are and show up boldly doing the things that we want to do and building the life that we need. I'm doing this series on reworking the dress code because I find a lot of you are confused as to how to dress right now. Is it superficial to pay attention to what you wear with everything that's going on? Is it superficial to focus your style in, center your style around your business, your career? How does it impact your personal brand? And of course, how do you express yourself, right? Is there room for self-expression in your career and your business when it comes to your wardrobe? And so for me, as one of the things that I'm super proud of, and knowing that I'm making a contribution in this space of inclusion and diversity, I recognize we're all in our own way pushing to create more inclusive spaces. We're all pushing to break down the barriers and the stereotypes that many of us may have conformed to, but no longer align with who we are and might have restricted us in the past from showing up as ourselves, right? And we're creating spaces that really encourage it and celebrates us being our full and authentic self. And so for me, personal style, like your personal style, is a way that you can indicate your forward thinking. You can use to create a sense of inclusion, to empower others to bring their whole and authentic self. It's a way for you to move the needle forward in terms of how you want to represent yourself. What is it you want to be known for? What is it you want people to know about you? I think about, someone interviewing for a role that you may be as a candidate looking for a space that embraces diversity, creates an atmosphere and a sense of belonging, right? And you're interviewing with someone who looks like they're, presenting themselves as someone who's still stuck in, centuries ago, that women were told if they're working in a male industry that they have to show up with this masculine energy, they have to wear that black and white, and that person may be stuck in that. That's an indicator for you as well that you can use as to whether or not that company or being in that space will really practice what they're preaching and create a more inclusive space. So style is not only a tool that you can use to advance in your business and your career, but I find it's going to be a way for us to really show whether or not we're forward thinking, whether or not we are challenging the status quo and showing up and allowing people to bring more of their full and authentic selves in the spaces. Yes, there is still going to be a conversation around being professional and showing up in an appropriate way. I try not to use the word professional because the definition can be skewed based on who's defining it. So I want you to think about your style as a way of progress, as a style of your style as a way of you bridging that gap between um, how we were told to show up yesterday and how we are showing up today, as a way of creating inclusive spaces and encouraging each other to be our authentic selves. Last week episode I did on sharing with you strategies and tips that you can use to personally express yourself through your style. So if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to that episode, go on my LinkedIn profile. Obviously, after this conversation, you can go on my LinkedIn profile, go to my activities, events, and you will see that conversation there. You can also find all these conversations that I've had on my YouTube channel, which is Style to Impact with Soleda. So you can also go over there and listen to the conversation there as well. This week, I want to talk about the three barriers that I find that I've discovered with having worked with women that getting in the way of them embracing their personal style. And of course, how can you go ahead and fix those barriers? Because we have to move past the barriers, we have to move past those internal and external biases and message that we were fed in terms of how we should show up, and really dismantle and break all of that down so that we can create and feel more joyful in who we are, celebrate more of who we are, and personal style is one way of doing that. But before I get into that, I want to share a quick story with you on a barrier that I had to overcome, and I linked it to my scarcity mindset. Growing up, I didn't grow up with the best of conditions. I didn't grow up with having a lot. I know, everyone have their own definition of what poor is. My definition is if you were constantly in lack, like there weren't enough money, or there weren't enough food, or there weren't enough clothes or shoes or whatever, or you didn't even going to a 4-year college was not even an option for you. In my definition, yeah, you grew up poor and everything else that goes with that. And so for me, I grew up, where it was when it came to footwear, you had three shoes. You had your church shoes, you had your going out shoes, and you had your like sneakers or something like that, right? And so without realizing it, when I started working, I started buying shoes. Like that was my fetish. Like I was just buying shoes, and they were all like similar color, just slightly different in cut. And in my mind, it was, oh, this particular shoes wouldn't go with this dress and it wouldn't go with everything in my closet. And that's how I justify just keep randomly buying shoes. And, only to realize that I was only wearing maybe 3 or 4 pairs, but the others were just sitting in my closet as this, exhibit, but I wasn't doing anything with them. And of course, I wasn't buying quality either. I wasn't buying anything that was going to last the test of time, because I thought I needed, a closet full of shoes. I saw that in television. I saw that in magazine that women, have these closets, and it's something that I'm supposed to have. And I did that. Right. And so that lack, that scarcity mindset when it came to my footwear caused me, without thinking about it, to just keep purchasing and putting shoes in my closet and not even wearing them. I know for a lot of you right now, it's like, yeah, having a closet full of shoes is exciting. It's nice to have. There are women that I've seen that have it, and I love seeing it. Jenna Lyons, who's the former like creative director of J. Crew, she showed her closet on. She did she's, I think she's on this Basketball Wives of New York or something like that, and you had a glimpse in her closet. Amazing closet. The difference between her closet, shoe closet, and my shoe closet would have been that in her closet, I'm sure that she has like obviously designer pieces, and she has shoes from different centuries and different designers cut prints. It's like a collection for her. That wasn't it for me. It was not a collection. It was from this scarcity mindset that I had, that I needed to have a lot of pieces, a lot of clothing, a lot of shoes to be able to feel a sense of accomplishment. And so the way that I went about fixing that is to really sit down and have that difficult conversation with myself, have that necessary conversation with myself, right? That self reflection, self discovery journey that I went on is to understand or journal in terms of who am I in this season of my life? Like, who am I in this season of my life? What is it that I'm drawn to right now? What do I how do I want to express myself and how do I want to show up in the world? Is having 50 pairs of shoes, 10 pairs of black and they're similar, is that necessary right now? Is that what I want to do? Do I just want to accumulate stuff, or do I want to accumulate or start putting clothes in my closet that really helps me to celebrate who I am and I'm wearing them? They're not just sitting there as mementos, just like, oh yeah, I was able to buy this or I have this. It's like, no, that's not the journey that I was on, and I recognize that. And that really helped in me defining my personal style and making better decisions when it came to what I purchased, what I wore, and how I celebrate myself. So the three barriers that I find like most when I'm working with most clients, these are the top three that comes up. The first barrier is, I'm going to put this into a two-on-one, and this is the sense of, there's a sense of overwhelm because there are too many pieces. There's a sense of lack of confidence because whether or not that's having, body image issues, not being too thin, too big, need to lose weight, all these different narratives that we hold that we don't fit the ideal body type. And so what happens is that the women that I was working with started to avoid um, expressing or exploring new styles, right? They were wearing the same thing over and over until it becomes to that point. It's like, what am I doing, right? I'm not celebrating myself and I'm hiding and I'm not showing up for myself. So that's the first barrier, is this idea that you walk into your closet and you have too many pieces, which can impact what you can create, and knowing what styles work for you and what styles best suit your body type, because you're now experiencing that that challenge, or in terms of how do I dress my body type, right? Because of all the judgment that you have or you're placing on yourself, coming from that lack of confidence and having too many things. And so the way that you go about fixing that is to do these three things. The first thing is to, first of all, journal and get a clear understanding as to who you are in this season of your life. Like, who are you right now? What are your personal and professional goals that you have for yourself? How do you see yourself moving into the world? Like, visualize what yourself, like your future self, accomplishing the things that you have set out for yourself, and then just look down at yourself or look in your closet and see if any of those things align with the version of you that you are today and the season that you're in. The other thing that you want to do is to, of course, know your body type, know your measurements. Get, if you need to go to a tailor, or maybe you have a friend, take your measurements, know what your shoulder, bust, waist, and hip measurements are, and your inner seam, like those critical measurements to know, because they will help you with your shopping decisions. That will help you with knowing how to dress your body type. It's not about hiding, it's about celebrating your body and wearing clothes that really fits and flatter your body, that allows you to feel confident inside and outside, to celebrate who you are and show up in the spaces that you're going into. And of course, think about three words that describe how you want to feel and look in the clothes that you wear. Once you do this, once you do those three things, this is how you're going to break down, overcome the lack of confidence, the overwhelmed mindset, because you will be making decisions in terms of what you purchase strategically and and intentionally based on how you want to look and feel in your clothes, what your body type is, and of course, where do you see yourself in the next 3 6 months? Like, who are you right now? And so you start celebrating more of who you are, which will then encourage you to start embracing more of your personal style because you're being more intentional about how you show up. The second barrier is the pressure to conform, right? If you're working in a space or you're showing up in spaces where it feels like everyone is dressing the same way and you want to fit in, but at the same time, you want to stay true to yourself. It's like, how do you do that? I always encourage my clients, like, pay attention to the environment that you're going into, pay attention to the activity that you're taking part in. Like, where is it going to be? Like, what's the weather? What who's going to be in the room, and then you decide for yourself how do you want to show up, right? Because standing out is not a bad thing. Standing out is actually a good thing, because what happens when you're standing out, it means that you are comfortable in your skin. It means that you are in alignment with your inner and your outer self, and those around you that you're trying to engage with, the opportunities that you're looking for, you're going to start attracting that energy and those opportunities to those people, because you're exuding that level of confidence. You're showing that you're not shying away from who you are, right? You're not shying away from being bold and being confident. I give you a story. I went to a, it was, I'm going to butcher the name, but I'm just going to forget the name. I went to, I call it was a networking conference last month. And so I've never gone to Black Women Talk Tech, never been to any of their conferences, don't know what the atmosphere, don't know what, I didn't have any information, even though I tried to do some research on their social. There wasn't anything that really indicated as to what the atmosphere and the environment was. And so I thought about, okay, it was starting at 2 o'clock. It's going to go to at least 6 or 7. Part of it was networking. I'm going to be sitting. I'm going by myself. I don't know anyone in this room. Like, what do I want to say when I walk into this room, since I'm not familiar with it? So I went with monochrome yellow pants, yellow top. I wanted to feel comfortable, but I also wanted to have that presence. And someone walked up to me and was like, oh my gosh, I had to come and talk to you because you're being so bold. I can see your energy, I can see your light, and I can see you being comfortable in your skin. Then, of course, I told her what I did, and it's like, okay, I can see it. So, standing out is not a bad thing when you are trying to show your sense of confidence, your sense of security and comfort in who you are, especially when you're going into new spaces. So don't be afraid to experiment with different styles, different color combination. Play with your style. Personal style and developing your personal style is all about playing, right? And if you don't have the time to play, find inspiration, go back to what I suggested in the first barrier that holds women back in terms of how to fix that, and identify those 3 words, because that's going to allow you to, when you open your closet and you have so many pieces, first of all, you're going to start pruning your closet, because it's not going to, when you look at it, if something does not align with your 3 words, it doesn't fit your body, it doesn't, it's just in your closet, then and there's no other way to restyle it that feels good for you, then you're going to start pruning your closet, right? And so you're going to be reducing that overwhelm by creating a closet that allows you not to fall into the pressures of conforming, but allows you to really express and show up as yourself. Because I truly believe that sense of self-expression, that sense of advocacy, when we are not conforming to the standards of dress or the standards of beauty, but we're showing up to tell our story, we're showing up boldly in a way that's authentic to us, it will encourage others to see our light. It will encourage others to attract those opportunities that we're looking for, and also issues that we're comfortable in our skin. So if that sounds great to you, let me see a hell yes in the comments, because that is what we want to do. We want to break down those barriers by simply showing up as ourselves. And so the third barrier that's getting in your way of embracing your personal style and how to fix it is a fear of judgment, right? It's like, what will people think? Am I being superficial to think about my style at this time with everything that's happening? Is this something that I want to be focusing on, right? And all those conversations are happening within. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. People are going to judge you no matter what, right? And as the saying goes, give them something to talk about and make it all about you at the end of the day. If you feel great in who you are and you're celebrating it, who you are, then having that mindset shift and knowing that you can't control people's opinion of you, they're going to have one. The most important thing for you and what you can control is your message. Is it in alignment with how you want to show up? Is it going to allow you to attract the opportunities that you are looking for and the people that you're looking for, the rooms that you want to go into? Once your message is in alignment, how you show up is in your control. And so owning who you are and how you're showing up, for me, it impacts your well-being. It impacts how you feel about yourself, and that's the most important thing. It's dressing for you and not dressing with, oh, how would this person perceive me? Would they think I'm being too much? Right? Like, that's not what we're doing. We're no longer doing that. We are showing up, being our authentic selves, taking up space as our authentic selves, because there are people in this world who want to see us exactly as who we are instead of the version of who we think we should be. So start embracing and celebrating that, because the only person's opinion of who you are that should matter is your own. Right? So let me know if any of these barriers resonate with you, or if there may be other barriers that's standing in your way of really embracing your personal style. Let me know in the chat. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk it through. Let's work through this. Let's do some self-discovery work together in the chat so that you can get to that space where you feel more free and more liberating, embracing who you are. So thank you very much for joining me today. If we haven't connected as yet, hit that follow button here on LinkedIn. Of course, I'm also trying to grow my YouTube channel, so you can head over to YouTube as well, which is Style to Impact with Solita, and give me a follow over there as well. So thank you very much, as I said, for joining me. Until next time, remember that representation is not just you being in the room or having a seat at the table, but it's also how you show up. Have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye.